Hello again, everybody. It is the final segment of Inside the Bubble show number 17. We've crowned a couple of state champions, Mr. Hockey and the Brimstick Award as well. Matt Harrington was grinding in the Al Shaver press box, getting it done with all the great coverage.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. You were grinding as well for sure. And we've got two new champions, as you mentioned, East Grand Forks in Class A. Moorhead in Double A. We'll get into all that and a whole lot more.
Brandon, you were on hand and you saw plenty of great things happen, especially with the Crusaders.
Yeah, it was really fun to follow that St. Cloud Cathedral playoff run. It came up just a little bit short of the back-to-back titles, but a fantastic tournament. Certainly hats off to EGF.
We have a little bit of a format change here tonight. We're going to take a look at our season recaps. We have a ton of announcers joining us. We'll start with the three of us. Matt, you are on deck. Let's take us through some of the great moments of the season for you.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to highlight, Pete, was really the emergence of the Southern Minnesota teams in some capacity this year. And of course, that starts with the Dodge County Wildcats winning the girls' Class A title. Big congratulations to head coach Jeremy Gunderson and the rest of that Dodge County team. It was really fun to kind of see them grow from just a few years ago, maybe not as well known in the state of Minnesota. Last year, runners up in Class A. And then this year, they get it done and win their first Class A championship in school history. That, of course, Dodge County is Casson-Mantorville High School and then Byron High School, a co-op program there as well. So it was fun to watch them grow. And then, of course, you saw the Waseca Blue Jays as well have a terrific season on the boys' side. It was their best season in school history. They made the Class 1A semifinal round also for the first time in school history. Last year, they were the 7th seed in their section. This year, they were the number 2. So it was great to see Waseca have a fantastic season on the boys' side. And then, of course, we want to talk about the Marshall girls team as well. They had a terrific season. They made the state tournament for the first time since 2018, ended up losing to Warroad in the quarterfinal round. But, of course, Brooklyn Mock was the state's leading scorer. And the Marshall Tigers had a terrific season. A lot of good hockey being played in southern Minnesota that maybe doesn't go as noticed. And then, of course, we got to do some Hockey Day Minnesota stuff as well. Of course, Orono and Delano was a fantastic game between two rivals. Delano jumped out to that early lead. They ended up going on to win this game, I believe, 5-1 over the Orono Spartans. Orono, though, would get their revenge in the section playoff, end up going to third place in boys Class A. So a terrific season there. And Shakopee did an amazing job hosting the Hockey Day Minnesota festivities as well. All around, it was so much fun to be out there at Valley Fair. Scenic backdrops, just a terrific.
It was a great time out there. And I will say this.
And so much fun.
I will say, Matt, it was a great time out there. And the fact was, I thought we did a really great job of coverage as well. Brandon Spratt, you once again have a great season summary for you. Mm-hmm. You spanned the entire metro area and beyond as you covered some great hockey.
Yeah, it was a really fun season. And Matt and I got to experience the Hockey Day sunset. I think it was on the Thursday, just a beautiful sunset over the roller coasters there at Valley Fair. So that was a highlight as well. Starting my season here in the South Suburban, the Rosemont Irish, what a season they had. Double A semifinalists on the girls' side. Audrey Bull here had an overtime winner against Apple Valley. She had an overtime winner in sections as well. Matt, I also picked up the Class A champions, Dodge County. This is their tying effort against the Minnetonka Skippers. Skippers had another fantastic season, but Dodge County put them on the schedule, scored 2 goals in the third, and tied that game. Now, my alma mater, Holy Angels, an incredible year. And Henry Lechner, what more can you say? All-time leader in goals and points at the Academy of Holy Angels. Here's Henry Lechner, their Mr. Hockey finalist. A tying goal and an overtime winner against St. Louis Park. Was fantastic to be on the call for that one. Just after the new year, this is the Benilde St. Margaret's Red Knights with their second win over Hill Murray on the girls' side. The winning goal by Bailey Gray with about 1 second to go. However, that was the final Pioneers loss of the season as they went on to win the Double-A state title. I think a defining moment in their campaign. Speaking of defining moments, I think this was one for Edina boys. 3 late goals against Wayzata in less than 90 seconds. One of the most incredible finishes I've ever seen. And they would go on then to beat the Trojans in the section final. A game, of course, Wags, you got to be on the call for at Ritter. This one ended in a tie. Awesome hockey game overall. This is same arena, however, different game. Holy Family Catholic against Minnetonka, 5th year in a row in the section final, and the Fire finally get it done. I mean, an incredible moment. It was not the final game I did of the season, but to just see them have that moment as a school community, a program that we obviously know so well as well. And there they are getting their section trophy. They went on to win 3rd place against Rosemont, who we showed earlier. So congrats to those teams. And it was just great to be a part of so much good hockey this season.
Yeah, from girls hockey to boys hockey, I think we saw a lot of great things. We saw a lot of teams that were able to come out of the shadows maybe of what we would call the blue bloods in high school hockey and really assert themselves and do some damage in sections and on into the state tournament as well. And some of that will be the theme of what I'm talking about. And, we have our Hockey Night in Minnesota game of the week every week. And we opened up with what I thought was a great game with Rogers and Shakopee. We had these teams 1, 2, or 3, right up among the top. And where was this going to go? We were able to see a couple of the league's top players in Mason Jensen and Cooper Simpson, Nolan Gertis, along with Parker Deshane. And I mean, you can go up and down the Shakopee roster as well. Kultgen is a great looking defenseman. We like Klein. All those players put themselves into position to succeed. And you know what? Both these teams end up qualifying for the state tournament. Section 5 AA, it's been a stronghold between Blaine to Centennial. Then Maple Grove took over for a while. Now Rogers had their turn this year, which I think made a big difference. Look at this. Same highlights, Brandon Spratt. I had to talk about this. The Holy Family Catholic Fire win in section playoffs against the Minnetonka Skippers. I think for high school hockey, watching what Randy Keppel did with that team, how hard they worked to get to where they needed to be to finally qualify for a state tournament. The same thing could be said for Kevin Gray and the Benilde St. Margaret's Red Knights, who just get so close against the Hornets just to get stopped right there in the section final. Very close to making it happen. And then, of course, this game from Ritter Arena, the environment and vibe was so good in there. Terrific hockey game between these two teams. They never disappoint when they play, when everything's on the line. These are what we would call 2 blue blood type programs, kind of sandwiching the presentation here. And they both go hard at each other, and they understand and respect exactly what they're about. And for me, the section playoffs on the MN Hockey TV were outstanding and a wonderful opportunity for us to really display and highlight all of the great teams, all of the great games that we've been a part of this year. And, Ritter Arena, I hope there's more games in there. I love Braemar. I think it's great. But I have to say, this was the proverbial pro environment. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to take a look at the state Class A state tournament and the Class AA state tournament. And Brandon, you were able to be down close and personal in a crazy overtime game. What did you see from there?
Yeah, I mean, what a great championship game. Cathedral pumping almost 40 shots on goal, just desperate looking for that tying goal. An awesome goaltending performance by Noah Schindley for East Grand Forks to just hold the Crusaders out. And then they get the bounce in the winner in overtime.
Matt, we were looking for no running time games, but then Laverne, Hibbing Chisholm actually went to work on Laverne there with the big win.
Yeah, they did. And of course they fell short, but still a good run for the Blue Jackets.
I don't know how many people know this, but 2015, I was the coach of the East Side team that won the second of back-to-back. We were up by 2 goals with 30 seconds left in the game, standing on the same bench, and we ended up going to overtime, 30 seconds of game time later. And the message today was almost identical to that message. I mean, when you're on that bench, you're going to overtime. Like with this group, like I told them, if we would have said at the first meeting of the season that you were headed to overtime with an opportunity to win a championship, would you take it? Damn right you would have. And that's what we had. We had an opportunity. That's what I looked at it like we had an opportunity to win a title. You can't look in the past. You got to face what's directly in front of you. One of our keys of the game all week and through the section tournament was next shift mentality. And the next shift was the first shift of overtime.
Well, now we take a look at what they did in that tournament. They opened up with a 3-0 win against the Northern Lakes Lightning, and then 7-5 over Hibbing, and then 2-1 over St. Cloud Cathedral. I mean, tip your cap. These guys have been winning forever, from Bantams to Pee-wees and now here in high school, Matt.
Yeah, and I think the talent that East Grand Forks had on this team, you look at their team makeup this year, a lot of juniors and seniors, the bulk of their roster being upperclassmen, of course. And so that was huge for the Green Wave. They had high preseason expectations. And fittingly, Pete, we had the East Grand Forks Green Wave at number 2 in our preseason rankings and St. Cloud Cathedral at number 1. So they met in the title game as the top 2 teams. And then you look at St. Cloud Cathedral and their team makeup, 9 seniors. Of course, they're going to lose John Hirschfeld, a Mr. Hockey finalist, and then 8 juniors as well. So a lot of upperclassmen on both of these teams in Class A.
Matt, we had them right where they belong. Let's be honest. It's just you trust
Yeah.
the process of the journey. Over in the Double A, what an interesting tournament that was. Moorhead and Edina, that was a game. But I felt like the Edina Rogers game was probably the best well played game. But it was Moorhead that came out on top.
We've talked for 2 days in a row now about how poor our starts have been. I mean, you couldn't have written it better today, right? Just an outstanding start. And you could sense that our team, they were prepared, they were ready, and they came out flying. We caught them on their heels a little bit. And then you could sense in the end, we were on our heels a little bit too, and that's the game at times. But incredibly proud of their resilience, and that's maybe been the word of this week. A group that the highs and lows of the game have found ways to win and made plays.
They were really pretty much wire-to-wire leaders, Matt, as far as being a top-class Double A team this year.
Yeah, they had only 2 losses during the regular season. One of them, of course, was in the first game of the season. Then they lost that wild one to the Hill Murray Pioneers. But I think when you look at the talent that Moorhead had the season, the fact that they were putting teams in a running time that normally wouldn't, it was very impressive. And you see their team makeup. They had 8 seniors, of course, led by Mason Kraft, who was your Mr. Hockey winner. We'll get into that in a little bit. 8 juniors as well, 4 sophomores. So they are going to be losing quite a bit from this team, but they still bring back 8 juniors that were really big. And then you look at the Stillwater Ponies in the runner-up. They had 13 seniors last year, but they do have 3 sophomores, and one of them being Luca Jarvis, who I think will be so important for the Stillwater Ponies next season. He was one of their best players this year, but they do lose a lot of seniors from the team that finished runner-up.
Plenty of goal scorers on the Moorhead Spuds and plenty of talent and coaching on both benches between they and the Stillwater Ponies. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll look at Mr. Hockey, the Brimsec, and our panel of announcers right after this.
My grandfather opened our doors in 1930. Ever since, we've had one main goal: keeping customers and their families comfortable. Comfort isn't just about temperature. It's about your peace of mind working with us. Our reputation is built on quality work, integrity, and a team of experts second to none. We stand behind our guarantees, our work, and our people. That's been true for over 90 years. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, the comfort you deserve since 1930.
A good neighbor would give you a cup of sugar if you asked. At Truestone Financial, we don't have any sugar, but we will give you up to $350 when you switch to a Truestone checking account. It's true, because we're Truestone.
My grandfather opened our doors in 1930. Ever since, we've had one main goal: keeping customers and their families comfortable. We stand behind our guarantees, our work, and our people. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, the comfort you deserve since 1930.
We had plenty of Mr. Hockey candidates that were worthy of winning that coveted award this year. And of course, it was awarded to Moorhead's super sniper, the big time goal scorer, Mason Kraft. And we saw him on full display at the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. I think he had 9 goals, 2 assists, 11 points in the tournament. And Brandon, what a season he had, and well deserved by that great, talented player.
Yeah, an incredible season. I mean, and from the section playoffs on, I believe he had like 4 hat tricks, 15 or 16 goals in those 6 games. I mean, one of the all-time runs that we've ever seen through the playoffs. And then, of course, he caps it with 4 goals in the first period on Saturday night to match only John Mayasich, who was the only other player to score 4 in a period. Just absolutely incredible. A performance that's going to live on for generations. And I'm glad to see that Mason Kraft adds his name to the list of Mr. Hockey winners.
He is a pure goal scorer, no doubt about it. And it's tough to get that type of goal scorer in hockey. You can't teach it. You just do it. And he's that special. On the Brimsec side of things, we're going to head over to White Bear Lake and congratulate Leo Gabriel as he picks up the win there, Matt. And he had himself, again, a sturdy campaign. Look at those numbers. Very gaudy.
Yeah, he was very impressive, and I think really all throughout his high school career, it was well-deserved. This year he went 14-8-3, 1.73 goals against average, and for White Bear Lake, they did end up losing in the section semifinal to the Stillwater Ponies, but a big reason why that they had the success this year was Leo Gabriel. I mean, he's got a great pad, so that always helps too from the visual side, but terrific season from Leo Gabriel. Well-deserved for the Frank Brimsek Award winner. This year was very tough. I think there were a handful of other candidates that maybe got left out of those top 3. But overall, Leo Gabriel, I think, was your clear winner here in a terrific season in his senior year for the White Bear Lake Bears.
Recovery, saves, and rebound control were so good. That's why I picked those highlights for him. Now we're going to bring in our panel. We have announcers that we're very proud of here at the MN Hockey TV. We're going to kind of do a round robin with everybody. And I am so excited to welcome in Dan McGee, who covered just about anything and everything for us. Dan, you're in Florida watching some baseball. Thanks for joining us.
It was a good day on the field for the team I follow, and it was an amazing year of games that I got to see, and great to be with you guys. And we're looking at one right here. This was the first one out of the chute, I think, for the boys this year. It was East Grand Forks and Delano, and Delano is one of my favorite spots to do games. The people are so nice. It's always a packed environment. And here comes East Grand Forks in. And I know we had them up high to begin the year. Heck, you had them second. Delano, I think, was in the top 10 as well. Matt will back that up. And I'm thinking, doing this game is nuts. Now, Delano always plays a lot of offense. They go up and down. But here's East Grand Forks, and I'm thinking, okay, is this a team that's really going to be good enough to make that run? The same with Delano. And I'm like, I left there that night. It was a phenomenal game. Delano wins it in overtime. And I know East Grand Forks, this is the second game in 2 nights for them. They had tied, I think, Gentry the night before. And I'm thinking, wow, how are they going to get better and get going on this? But they did it. So congratulations to them. The second one I picked here, this game was absolutely nuts. St. Louis Park and Benilde St. Margaret's. We had St. Benilde a number of times this year, and they always seem to get down. And in this game, they were down 3-0 to their biggest rival, St. Louis Park. And they came back. They got Junior Bodine going with that top line. And there was some stuff that went nuts at the end of the game. And one of the things, now I don't know if we'll get it on the highlights here, but fans were going nuts. The arena was going nuts. And here I look over, and here's Junior Bodine and the goalie for St. Louis Park, Maxim Shiratenko, which you guys did a phenomenal story on. They're just off to the side, having a chat. They've got their arms around one another, giving each other a hug. And I'm like, sometimes the players get it right. They did. They did indeed get it right. About this than anybody else.
Thanks a lot for joining us, Dan. We will now bring in Julian Lockhart. Great coverage all year long. Julian Lockhart, of course, you were kind of our, what I would call Northwest suburban correspondent, but you did a heck of a lot of other games, and you've got some great stuff to talk about as well.
Yeah. I had a lot of really good games. I got to cover a lot of Elk River. They hosted Roseau, a section rival. This was a really big game for the Elks and the Rams to determine where you are at seeding wise. And this was a really interesting game to me. I picked this because Roseau took the 2-0 lead against Elk River, and the Elks were able to come back and tie this one up. And it ended up being an overtime 2-2 tie. However, it was a game that really, truly felt like a win for Elk River and a loss for the Rams. And in this game, I got the honor to call the section final between Rogers and Champlain Park. Rogers, a team that's never been to the state tournament. They scored 3 goals in a row to begin the second period, a team that has so much offensive firepower, one of the top lines, Parker Deshane, Keaton Wise, Mason Jensen. They also have Nolan Gertis, who ended up winning the Reed Larson Award. This is a team that really scores in bunches, and we got to showcase it there. And this last game, I got to travel down to Eden Prairie, one of the better teams out of the Lake Conference, and Buffalo, a squad that I'm really used to seeing. I call a lot of their home games, and this was a game where the Bison have been struggling all season long, especially in conference play, and they took on a very tough Eden Prairie squad and scored a lot of goals for them. Ava Jovan, their goaltender, had a phenomenal game as well. This was one of the peak offensive performances for the Bison.
Great work again, and thank you for joining us, Julian. We look forward to another great season coming up with you next year. And of course, I'm looking forward to bringing in our next guest. He's a legend of the MN Hockey TV. He's been there from day one, like you, Matt. And, Brandon, you're very close to Patrick Lilia. Thanks for joining us here. You had yourself one heck of a season. And I know one of the things that I really enjoyed was your Section 3A calls. Take us through your season.
Oh, thanks, guys, for bringing me on today. Well, my season got off to a little bit of a fun start because I was pretty jet lagged still when I did my first game. It was a girls' game, Edina against Rogers. And so that was fun trying to navigate that. Also some other things going on that first week. But so we progressed through the season, and kind of one of my favorite earlier season moments was it was an overtime game between Wayzata and Edina at Pick, and I had to get a little creative with my broadcast space, so which is always fun because that makes things a little more memorable when you kind of have to figure out exactly where you're going to be doing the game from. And that was, of course, an epic game. Carson Clark, the overtime winner for Wayzata in that game. That was an absolutely fantastic game. Then later on in the season, we had Maple Grove against Rogers, where Mason Jensen went off for 4 goals in the first period. That was a very interesting matchup to me. It was a Saturday night at the Maple Grove Community Center. Rogers has been trying for a while to get past Maple Grove in that section. So I thought that was going to be a big test to see how was Rogers going to fare against the Crimson. I know Maple Grove not quite as elite as they had been, but still that block in front of you that, this is a team that they haven't been able to get by. And that was a fun game. Jensen went off for 3 in the first, 4 total in the game. Crimson kept up the fight, though, so they made sure Rogers wasn't going to get it that easily. Then closed out the season down in St. Peter for that 3A semifinal and final with Laverne winning 2 games by the skin of their teeth. They beat Mankato East in the final minute of regulation. Then, of course, the double overtime winner from Blake Borg.
And they did beat them in overtime. It was terrific. Chris Swarthout comes to us via the Minneapolis Hockey Club, and he was a warrior for us all year long. Chris, we appreciate everything that you did for us, and we look forward to hearing from you on what your season was about.
Oh, I'm going to start off with a hot take, and I know how you guys feel about this one, but my favorite play all year was Eli Milinkovic hitting the Michigan in the game against St. Paul Highland. And I know you guys hate the Michigan, but I got to tell you, I hope you don't put the sound on when this one comes up, because I went crazy. The kids went crazy. It was, thank you. It was just electric. And we had
Hey, Chris, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I just say it's not creative anymore. Sorry about that. But that was
really
good.
Then the season really for Minneapolis, because they're one of the teams I focused on, really solidified with this win over Delano at Delano. Delano is one of the hardest teams to win in their own home barn. I was asked to go up and call this game kind of as a call for Dan McGee, which was a lot of fun. But when Minneapolis won here 4-2 in Delano, I think it was the first time they really believed that they could go all the way to the section finals. And this was probably the moment where Minneapolis said, okay, do you believe in miracles? Because it could really happen. And that was a big win and a big, big turning point for them. The next thing that I also focused on was my old alma mater, Totino Grace. I was on the Tuesday Night Lights call for this with you guys. Totino faced up Monticello. Monticello is, I think, second, third or fourth in the state. Statistically, Totino Grace should have been blown out of the house. They end up taking this one, a 5-2 victory in their own home barn at Brooklyn Park Community Center. It was unbelievable, the vibe that the seniors came with. Trey Peck looked outstanding. He was one of the key clutch moments in this whole team. Him and Roger Murad seemed to just work side by side so well, and it was a really, really big turning point for Totino Grace. I got to call with side by side with Dan McGee as well in the sections when Minneapolis went up. They scored 3 goals in the first 3 minutes against Providence in the semis. It was unbelievable. Like, you couldn't believe the goals were raining in as fast as they were, and Minneapolis looked like they were set to just go on and have a big game. This big one with Eli Milinkovic, he grabbed it as like Kirby Puckett going to the wall, pulls it down, passes it over to Matt Walsh. Walsh buries it.
Kirby Puckett comparison, that's really impressive. Let's now bring in Blake Mortensen. We got him brought to us from Up North Hockey, and he's been an absolute terrific asset to our group. Works with us as well here at MN Hockey TV and Live Barn. And Blake, you've really blanketed the Iron Range for us. Take us through your season.
Well, yeah, it was a lot of fun to be back up north covering teams like Grand Rapids, Rock Ridge, and Hibbing. And I would say overall it was kind of a revival for Iron Range hockey this year. So this game right here it's a Grand Rapids Rock Ridge from January 30th. And the first goal you saw, it was Andrew Ryla scoring 12 seconds into the game. Then Rock Ridge tied it up shortly after, a few minutes after. But then Grand Rapids got 2 goals from Jamison Duell. They were up 3-1. So it kind of looked like the Thunderhawks were going to run away with it. But the Wolverines were resilient in this game. And we ended up going to overtime as we keep watching the highlights for Rock Ridge. Some goals from Landon Matheson, Cal Scott, John Westby. Also,
great balance there, Blake. They had a lot of scoring balance as the season wore on, didn't they?
Yeah, for sure. For both teams, they were able to find some different goal scorers, especially for Rock Ridge. Last season coming into this year is really just Grady Demberio and Kaz Carlson finding the back of the net. But, for Rock Ridge, it was really good for them to find some younger goal scorers and a freshman in Bardovich and Cal Scott as well. So that game went to overtime, ended in a 4-4 tie, one of those games where everyone wanted a winner that night. So this one right here, I didn't announce this one, but I think this was from after Christmas, Hibbing, Chisholm, and Delano. And it was a high-scoring game for the Blue Jackets, really, really an impressive win for them as they really showed off their high-octane offense. And what a season for the Blue Jackets, getting through Hermantown and Cloquet Carleton to go to the state tournament. Of course, it didn't end how they wanted the season to end in that semifinal matchup.
It was magical for them for sure. A good job for the Hibbing Chisholm Blue Jackets, something to hang their hat on. And I'm sure we'll see plenty more of that to come from them in the upcoming years as they played some great hockey and we loved it all. Be sure to follow us as always on social at MN Hockey TV, X, Instagram, and Facebook. We've got you covered. And Matt Harrington, great job on the social all year long. Guys, quick takes. Let's start with you, Brandon, to close out the season. 10 seconds, go.
All right, just another incredible season. I know I say it almost every year when we sign off, but really, truly, personally, and I think for our company, best season yet. Looking forward to next year.
Great stuff, Matt.
Yeah, Pete, I think the teams we thought at the preseason rankings did well. They ended up winning a state championship. So the teams that were at the top stayed there. It was an awesome year.
Take a bow, gentlemen. It's been a great season. We'll see everybody next year. So long, everybody.